My people, two of the teams that are into the semi-final tie of the Champions League football 2025-2026 have never went ahead, obviously, with the Champions League, are facing off tomorrow at the Metropolitano Stadium in Madrid, a stadium that capacitates 70,692 people. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rokani David. Smash like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name and hope you guys are really having super fun as it really stands. We are going to be breaking down this game of football of Arsenal and a team known as Atletico Madrid to the fullest. And this is what we are all about at this particular channel. Now, Atletico Madrid finished 14th, in the Champions League table, and they had 13 points. Arsenal finished first and they had 24 points. Arsenal scored 27 goals. Atletico Madrid scored 34 goals, meaning that Atletico scored more goals than Arsenal. But however much Atletico scored more goals, which we are 34, they conceded 26, and Arsenal went ahead to concede only 5. 150 shots by a club known as Atletico Madrid, and out of those, 81 were on target, 69 were off target, and 51 were shots blocked by the opponent. Now, we go to the side of Arsenal. They had 147 shots, 82 shots on target, 65 shots off target, 38 shots were blocked by the opponents that Arsenal went ahead to play. Atletico Madrid averaged a passing accuracy of 85.24% in there, and Arsenal averaged a passing accuracy of 85.59% per game. That is it. Now, when we go to the recent games that Atletico Madrid played, Atletico Madrid played they beat Atletico Bilbao by 3-2. That is Atletico Madrid. And Arsenal beat Newcastle by 1-0 at the Emirates. In there for you. So, from there, we get to the previous meetings. There are 6. Arsenal has won 2 games. And Atletico Madrid has gone ahead to win 2. They've also gone ahead to draw twice. So, no one has edged the other. But in the previous scores, this season, Arsenal, while in the table format of the Champions League, went ahead to beat Atletico Madrid by 4-0. That is it. Then, International Champions Cup, Arsenal drew 1-1 with Atletico Madrid. That was in 2018. And in the UEFA Europa League, 3rd May 2018, Atletico Madrid went ahead to beat Arsenal by 1-0 at the Metropolitano Stadium. So that's how things really panned out for the club of Arsenal and its opponent, who goes by the names of Atletico Madrid. That is it. So that is Arsenal for you. And that's what they've gone ahead to obviously do. Now, we get to the team news. For the club of Arsenal, in the game of Newcastle, Ricardo Carafiori, Kai Havertz, Ebelechi Eze, Martin Zubimendi were taken off. And as of today, the manager, we've seen the following players train. Ebelechi Eze, Martin Zubimendi, Carafiori were training. It's only Kai Havertz that never showed up, and he has gone ahead to join the likes of Julian Timber and Mikel Merino into the mix. So that's exactly how things panned out at the side of the Sobha Reality Training Center before Arsenal fled to Spain for this particular encounter. Right? Those are the, I think those are three. Merino, Julian Timber, and Kai Havertz are those that we might not see, but don't be shocked if at all we see Kai Havertz into the mix, because Even the manager did not show us Declan Rice when they're going to be playing against Sporting Lisbon, but Declan Rice showed up. Now, for Atletico Madrid, they're having Pablo Barrios is having a hamstring injury. Jose Gimenez is having a muscular injury. And Ademola Lookman is having a muscle injury. David Hanko is having an ankle injury. But these two, Ademola Lookman and David Hanko, will be assessed tomorrow. That is it. Now, Julian Alvarez is also has a minor doubt, but all is a minor doubt for this fixture. But I know he'll obviously be showing up. Over the weekend, he never featured. He had what we call a minor discomfort. That is a player known as Julian Alvarez in there for you. So from there, we obviously get what we call the probable starting 11 for the club of Arsenal, and then we'll bring you the probable starting 11 for the side of Atletico Madrid and weigh in things and see how things will pan out. Arsenal will go in for a system of 4-2-3-1. That is it. And obviously, in goal, it will be David Raya. That is it. Playing at his home country. That is it. Right back, there is Ben White, there is Mosquera. And because Mosquera was at Valencia and played in the stadium for some long time, he knows what it means to be playing here. I think the manager will play him in the having gone ahead to play Ben White as a right back in the game of Newcastle. So I do believe that Mosquera will be played as a right back because the manager will be looking so much into what we call the defensive side. Left back, Ricardo Carafiori is back. Hincapié is back, but Hincapié was in fine form over the weekend as Arsenal beat Newcastle by 1-0. Now, I really know that they really lack those ball orienting and possession reference players as their fullbacks, but I know the manager will go for Hincapié in there for you, and Carafiori maybe will come on later as an option. Then in the central defense, obviously it will be William Saliba as the right back and Gabriel Magalhaes as the left back. So that is it for this particular back five for the club of Arsenal to take on a team known as Atletico Madrid. Then we go to the double pivot. Obviously, it will be Martin Zubimendi, well conversant of this position and of this stadium because he has played there for a very long time when he was at Real Sociedad, and he will be playing alongside Declan Rice. So that is my double pivot that I've gone ahead to think of, and I think the manager will obviously deploy it effectively. As a central attacking midfielder, obviously, we will have to look at a player known as Martin Odegaard coming in through and really doing what he does best. In a game like this, you need Martin Odegaard a lot because for Atletico Madrid, for a team that plays really a very defensive game, you need someone to obviously unlock it. And Martin Odegaard is one of the finest number 10s that will obviously unlock that central defense of yours. And we head to the right attacking midfielder. There is Max Doman, there is Noni Madueke, there is Bukayo Saka. Saka was the lifeline in there for you. Was a live wire when he came off the bench and he really looked good. And I think he is in the right shape to obviously come in through and take on a team known as Atletico Madrid. And I start him in there for you as a right attacking midfielder. And Noni Madueke will come in later. So, left attacking midfielder. You have players like Trossard, Ebelechi Eze, Martinelli, right? So, for me, I start Gabriel Martinelli. I really know there'll be a lot of running in this game, and you'll need his running in there for you. But the manager might be like, let me start Leandro Trossard or Ebelechi Eze, and I'll use the pace of Gabi Martinelli when these other players of Atletico Madrid are really tired, and then I'll capitalize onto that to see to it that all goes on well as planned. So that's all about the plan of the manager, and we wait and see how he will obviously get us into a very correct probable starting 11. Leading the line, Kai Havertz, when he's fit, I know he'll start, but he is one of those that never showed up during the training session in there, and that means Victor Gyokeres will get himself a starting slot into this particular encounter. So that is my probable starting 11 for the side of Arsenal in a system of 4-2-3-1. Atletico Madrid, they go in for a system of 4-4-2, and they'll have Jan Oblak in goal, Molina right back, Ruggeri left back, Lee Nomad and Lenglet in the central defense, Simeone right winger, Gonzalez left winger, Koke and Cardoso in the double pivot in there, with Antonio Griezmann and Julian Alvarez leading the line. So that is the probable starting 11 for the side of Arsenal and Atletico Madrid at a game that is going to be played tomorrow. Now, I know what you really want from me is the prediction, but let's obviously first discuss a little bit onto what this game is obviously going to be like. One, I anticipate a match that Arteta is obviously not going to open up. That is it. He'll also play safe most of the times. That's what I really think. He'll play safe most of the times, and he'll do counterattacks and also pay a lot of attention to detail every time they really get a set piece. Remember, after a long while, we saw Arsenal scoring from a set piece. That is over the weekend, that Ebelechi is a goal. Meaning that those set piece duels are really going to be very, very important. And I know Atletico is one side that obviously plays a low block, but Arsenal will obviously play a low block this time round, and they'll be like calling them to come and attack them. That is 100% what I believe that this team will obviously come in for. That is exactly what I think they'll obviously come in for and obviously put out in there. So I think for Atletico Madrid, they'll obviously attack Arsenal because they really have technically gifted players, good in 1v1s, and that central defense of Arsenal will obviously be put to a very, very big test, I tell you. They'll be put to a very, very big test because it's not going to be an easy one. I tell you, it's not going to be an easy one, and David Raya needs to be at his best and that back five. So the other team, they run a lot. That is Atletico de Madrid, and we wait to see how things will pan out. But Arsenal, I think, will obviously have a master plan for this, and the manager, Arteta, knows exactly what to do. And I know that if you are Arteta, you are like, I want a result of any nature, a draw or a win, and even if it's a draw, I'll go ahead and really settle up. Now, for Atletico Madrid, attacking that team of Arsenal is really going to be hard because this team is obviously the team that is going to have to concede the least number of goals in the Champions League of this season. And what do we mean? They've just going to have to concede 5 in the very many games they've going to have to play. If you really add on the 8 they played in the group stages, then round of 16, where they played Bayern Leverkusen, those are 2. Bayer Leverkusen, those are 2. They played against the side known as Sporting, those are 4. And those are how many games? Those are 4 plus, those are 12, right? 12 Champions League games. And if at all, in the 12 games, they've gone ahead to play, they've gone ahead to obviously have, 5 goals conceded. It shows you that it's very hard to score against this side of Arsenal. That is it. So they need to pay a lot of attention to detail to that. But also, Atletico Madrid are really one of the deadly teams when it comes to set pieces. So Arsenal has to know that. So we're obviously going to be enjoying a game of football where everyone knows to it that it's a chance to play in the final, and they'll be already know who has gone ahead to win in Paris. So that is what I had to say about this game of football. But for Arsenal, Saka has to really create chances for Gyokeres or anyone who's leading the line. Let him stop the unselfishness, because I know Odegaard will play him into him a lot and he needs to do the needful. So the game might be one on the bench, especially for the club of Arsenal, because if we're having Trossard, Belechi Eze, Gabriel Jesus, Noni Madueke, Lewis Kelly was brought in the midfield over the weekend. You never know, the manager might obviously deploy him again in there for you. So it really means a lot for this particular side of Arsenal. But even Atletico Madrid is not a soft nut to crack. They're a hard one to crack. And remember, the side they really knocked out was Barcelona, but I think Barcelona was really cast on two legs. They got red cards, and those red cards couldn't obviously see them compete at this particular level. You understand? But they really had a very beautiful display, and they went ahead to score against this side. Atletico Madrid has gone ahead to swallow goals, I tell you, because if you look at the 34 they've gone ahead to score, they've gone ahead to concede 26, meaning that they're a team that really concedes goals. Even when they hosted Barcelona, Barcelona beat them by 2-1 in here. So if Barcelona had drawn at their stadium, then things would have gone ahead to be the same for Atletico Madrid. Now let's head to these match stats, and then we will come in through with what we call the match prediction. Now, Arsenal and Atletico Madrid are the two teams that have played the most matches in the history of European Cup and Champions League without ever winning the trophy, 223 and 190 respectively. So they've played very many games in these tournaments, and they haven't obviously gone ahead to really win the Champions League. That is it. When playing at either the Vicente Calderón or the Riyadh Air Metropolitano, Atletico Madrid have never lost at home to an English side in the UEFA Champions League knockout stage. You've heard that very well. They've played 6, won 3, and drawn 3. All 6 of those were against different teams: Chelsea, Leicester, Liverpool, Man United, Man City, and Tottenham Hotspur. So all the best teams in England have gone ahead to come to the stadium, and they haven't obviously gone ahead to win. Thirdly, this will be the 16th European Cup or UEFA Champions League semi-final tie between Spanish and English teams. The sides from England have progressed in 9 of the previous 15, 60%, as well as in 4 of the last 5, the expectation being Man City versus Real Madrid in 2021-2022. Sorry, the exception being Man City versus Real Madrid in 2021-2022. So it shows you that in the recent past, those games have fully gone to the side of England. So we wait and see how things will pan out. Unbeaten in their last 12 with 10 wins and 2 draws. Arsenal are 1 game away from equaling their longest ever run without a defeat in European football. 13 games between March 2005 and April 2006. That previous run took them into the 2006 final versus Barcelona, which remains the only time they have reached the European Cup showpiece. So, you know that very well, that Arsenal at that particular time, they are really very deadly. Atletico Madrid produced just 0.32 XG from open play in their defeat at the Emirates earlier this season and hit the target only once, both their lowest totals in UEFA Champions League match this season. Across their other 13 games in this edition, Atletico averaged 1.34 XG from open play and 6 shots on target per match. You've heard it very well. Arsenal's 4 games in the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League this season have produced just 5 goals, 4 4-1 against, and average of 1.2 per game. Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid's 6 knockout games in this edition have had an average of 4.7 games per game. So that is it. Then they've told us that when facing opposition build-up, Atletico Madrid have the 9th highest percentage of time spent in a defensive low block. You've had 20.4% in this season's UEFA Champions League out of 36 teams. Indeed, Diego Simeone's side also rank among the bottom 10 sides for percentage of time in high defensive block. Now, that is really evident. We all know that they are a defensive team, no doubt. And Arsenal has to note it that this is a low block team. Atletico Madrid have averaged 374 high intensity pressures per game in the UEFA Champions League this season, the 5th most by any team in 2025-2026. Indeed, Atletico's average is almost 10 more than any of this year's semi-finalists, with Arsenal the closest to them, 281. So they've had 374 high intensity pressures and Arsenal has 281. I've told you, they really press a lot. Coming into the semi-final round, only PSG 7.8 have averaged more defensive line breaking passes per game than Atletico Madrid, 7.1 in this season is UEFA Champions League game league. 21 of their defensive line breaking passes have been received by Giuliano Simeone, which is more than twice as many as any other Atletico player, 10, Alexander Salt. So those line breaking passes have been put out in there for you in every game. Half of Victor Gyokeres' goal for Arsenal in the UEFA Champions League, 2 of 4 came in the second half of their 4-0 win against Atletico Madrid. However, Gyokeres hasn't scored in any of his 4 knockout stage games in this edition and has had just 6 shots across those games. 28 players have had more shots attempts since the start of the round of 16. That is Victor Gyokeres for you. So that is it for the club of Arsenal. There are very many, but I've found myself in a position of like, oh, we won't spend forever while reading this. Now, my prediction is 2-2 draw at the Metropolitano Stadium. That is it. 2-2 draw. I see goals, 4 goals in this game, and I really believe it's going to be one of those games that you guys will enjoy to watch. Rokani David is my name. Hope you guys are really having fun. I sign out for now. See you later. Bye-bye.